In the last few years, we've heard a lot of news from families across the country falling victim to hackers. But not just your garden variety computer hackers, security camera hackers. Stories like these send chills down my spine, and I know I'm not the only one left with questions. On this week's Weird Question Wednesday, we ask, can you sue someone for hacking into your security camera? Let's get started. I don't have a law degree, so I talked to someone who does. Meet Stephen Smith, a former federal magistrate judge. We talked privacy laws and how you could, in theory, sue your hackers. In our conversation, I asked the big question. Here's what Steve had to say.
First of all, it's a crime for somebody to gain unauthorized access to a protected computer and get information from it. So that's the first thing. That's a federal crime.
So case closed. Well, not so fast. Like Steve said, it's complicated. Hacking into a security camera violates two federal laws, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act and the Storage Communications Act. One protects information while the other protects electronic communications. But, that's just the dumbed down, I didn't go to law school version. And while hacking into a security camera could fall under either law, only the Storage Communications Act allows you to sue for damages. Because, finding out someone's been watching you through your security camera is pretty emotionally damaging. There are also laws on the state level called torts, which fall under a kind of common law category.
There may be a cause of action for what we call a privacy tort, the tort of invasion of privacy. Those laws vary from state to state, but those are judge-made common law type of remedies. A tort is like, someone assaults you or someone defames you. Those are causes of action or rights to sue that are created not by statute, but just by common law.
A violation like camera snooping could fall under one of these torts. It gets complicated when there are laws under the federal and state levels for the same crime. So, to answer the big question, yes, you could technically sue a hacker for hacking into your cameras, but you would have to wade through some murky legal territory to do that. And then there's the problem of,
first of all, finding out who did it.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't find the hacker, maybe you could sue the camera company. Well, Steve warned against this and said that companies can be pretty slippery when it comes to matters like this.
Companies or providers these days is that your terms of service are probably going to require you to go through arbitration as opposed to file an actual lawsuit. So you may have already agreed to give up your right to sue by virtue of this contract. The beauty of arbitration from the company's perspective too is that typically you will not be allowed to proceed as a class action. It's kind of David versus Goliath kind of thing.
The good news is people have tried before and it's come out with some good results. In 2019, a brave few went up against Ring after their cameras were hacked. And because of that suit, Ring had to make some additional security updates. You can see a little bit more on that in our most recent Ring update video. In the end, the good judge didn't think that suing was the right way to deal with hackers.
There are practicalities that have to be taken into account before you decide whether or not it's really worth going down that line and trying to sue somebody. And it's not easy, I put it that way.
Right. Instead, he recommended going through the standard channels under these circumstances.
In terms of bringing a suit, it might be better just for you to report it to local law enforcement and have them investigate and then have them bring the criminal charges. I mean, I would feel that I got justice that way, letting the criminal justice system work as opposed to me, hiring a lawyer and going out and going through all the travail of civil litigation.
If something like this does happen to you, file a police report and give as much information as you can about your camera and any identifying things about the hacker, like what they said or what they sounded like. If you do know who is behind the camera hacking, seek legal advice from an attorney. And as always, prevention is key to this kind of thing. We've said it before and we'll say it again. Change passwords to your apps. log out when you're done, and check out our security camera safety video to learn a few more ways to make hackers' lives a little harder. That's it for us this week. A big thanks to Steven Smith for sitting down with us, and a big thanks to you for watching. Like and subscribe to SafeWise to catch more Weird Question Wednesdays every week, as well as other videos on home security systems, security cameras, smart home gadgets, personal safety, the works. That's it for us this week. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.